Good evening. I'd like to call to order the December 9th meeting of the Onalaska Common Council. It is 7 p.m. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Jim Benash,
Here.
Kathy Loendorf. Here. Stephen Knott.
Here.
Mike Milkey.
Here.
Larry Jurassic.
Here.
Diane Wolf.
Aye. Or here.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 3 is the rules of the City of Onalaska Common Council and its subcommittees. This is a harassment-free forum. The City Council and subcommittee meetings shall be conducted in a courteous manner. Citizens, council, and committee members shall be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free of slander, obscene remarks, or threats of violence. Sufficient warnings may be given by the sergeant at arms or the chair at any time during the remarks. And in the event that any individual shall violate the rules of decorum as set forth, such person may then be cut off from comment or debate. Item 4 is public input. Now is the time where any member of the public may address the Common Council this evening. If you choose to do so, please begin by stating your name and your address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. If anyone would like to do so, now is the time. Please come forward. Would anyone like to address the Common Council this evening?
Hello, Mike Milkey, 707 Pleasant Court. I'm just giving public input. I had a birthday party at the Dash Center, and I want to give Dan and his team a shout out. It was wonderful. We were able to rent the Sunset Room. So if anyone knows anybody looking for a place to go, it's a great place. Very easy to get in and very easy to use. And I just want to give that quick shout out. So thank you to the team.
Thank you for that. Is there any other public input this evening? Second call for public input. Third and final call for public input this evening. Public input is now closed and we'll move on to item 5, the report from the mayor. Item A is the recognition and badge pinning for the full-time firefighter EMT, Jeremy Lasakis, for completion of his probationary period. I'll turn it over to Chief Fletty to say a few words and congratulate.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Pardon me?
Is that coming through?
I think so.
Good deal. All right. It's my pleasure to introduce you tonight, Jeremy Lasakis, full-time firefighter EMT with us. Before joining our fire department, firefighter Lasakis honorably served in our nation for 4 years in the United States Marine Corps. He began his tenure with the Onalaska Fire Department in June of 2023 as a part-time firefighter, but he had a clear goal in mind to become a full-time firefighter. His journey to this moment exemplifies his remarkable dedication. He worked 2 jobs, both as a part-time firefighter, and he maintained a separate full-time job as well. All while doing that, he also pursued his several firefighter certifications as well as other educational classes. So very busy during his part-time. His hard work and persistence paid off when in October of 2024, he became full-time firefighter with us. Hard work didn't end there because during his probationary period, he continued to hone his skills, take additional educational opportunities, and put everything together that he learned in school, worked with our full-time firefighters to hone his skills that he learned as a part-time firefighter as well. Thing about Jeremy is regardless of, the situation he faces, whether it's an emergency scene or medical skills, that type of thing, he consistently demonstrates calm demeanor, keeps a level head about him at all times. We often emphasize bringing a positive attitude and giving maximum effort every day when we come to work. And Jeremy embodies both of those traits every day. You couple that with his calm nature, his reliability, strong work ethic, and he has all the traits necessary to become and be a successful firefighter. We're truly fortunate to have him as part of our team. And we want to extend our congratulations on his successful completion of his probationary period. With that, firefighter Lasauskas has several family members here in the audience today. But I'd like to invite his mother, Carrie Mascarella, and his father, Robert Lasauskas, to the podium to do his badge pinning ceremony.
And let me say, the people taking photos, feel free to come up here or to the side or wherever you feel you want to be to take a better photo. That's no problem here. We don't stand on ceremony. Your photos are way more important than if you want to come up here or whatever. It's no problem. Oh. Maybe Chief should get up there with them. Congratulations, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And thanks to the other firefighters for coming and supporting him tonight. We appreciate that. Okay, item 2 is the appointment of the election officials for the 2026 to 2027 season. The printout is in the packet and we need a motion and a second for your approval of these election officials. Maybe Joanne may have another word or two to say about this.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, this list needs to be approved every other year, according to statute. As you see, most of our election officials on that list are unaffiliated, but we also receive lists from the political parties. And as a requirement of that, we are required to use the political parties first when it comes to elections. And then after we fill those positions, then we use our unaffiliateds.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Diane Wolf to approve the appointment of the election officials for 2026 to 2027. Is there any further discussion on this matter? Not seeing or hearing any. All in favor of approving these, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next up is recommendation for approval and/or possible action on the following committees, commissions, boards, and officials. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member requests removal, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in the order of business in the non-consent agenda. Are there any items the councilors would like removed from the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we're moving on to the non-consent agenda. Item 7 is a recap of the items pulled from the consent agenda. There were none. So item 8, Finance Committee, I will turn it over to Mike Milkey.
Thank you, Mayor. The following is a list of monies expended since the last common, this is item 8A. The following is a list of monies expended since the last common council meeting dated November 11th, 2025. Total being $2,383,458.80. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Mike Milkey. It's been seconded by Kathy Lohendorf to approve the vouchers as described. Is there any discussion on this item? Not seeing or hearing any. All those in favor of approving the vouchers, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And on to item 8B. This is to amend this is the amendment of the schedule of deposits. This is in our packet and it was approved at our last meeting. I'll go ahead and move to approve this as well.
Second.
Okay, motion on the floor is to approve the amendment of the schedule of deposits. The motion was made by Mike Milky, seconded by Kathy Lohendorf. Is there any discussion? Okay, not seeing or hearing any, the motion is to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
All right, and item 8C, this is the Scenic Mississippi River Transit Smart Bus funding in 2026. Rick, do you want to start us off here?
Yes, thank you. I can start off with this one. So this was discussed at our Administrative and Finance Committee.
Rick, can we pause for a moment? I think we should put a motion on the floor before we go into discussion since we did have a motion. Did we have a motion coming out of committee?
We did not
Didn't.
have a motion.
Okay.
That's correct. We did not. Yep. And part of the reason is that the only need for a motion would be is to
Oh,
add
right.
funding into the budget that's currently not in there right now. So.
Okay, I stand corrected. Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you. So this was addressed or talked about at the Administrative and Finance Committee. Thought it would be appropriate to bring to the full council. So there's an opportunity for everybody to have a conversation about it. So a little bit of a background. There is what's called the Smart Bus, which is a Scenic Mississippi Regional Transit bus, which travels from various different communities in Vernon County. There's some in Monroe County, to and from La Crosse for appointments, to and from work, just a number of different things. La Crosse County is the primary operator or overseer of this program. Back in August, I believe it was, there was a letter that was received by La Crosse County from the county board chair and the county administrator indicating that there would not be funding placed in the La Crosse County budget for this item, largely due to the fact that the program itself is not sustainable under its current funding structure. So current funding structure is a number of grants, both at the federal and state level. There are a number of municipalities and other organizations who do provide funding to the program. And then La Crosse County does also provide funding as well. I believe this year there's going to be a shortfall of approximately 123,000, if I remember correctly, and projection next year of over $200,000 shortfall for the program. So since the item was not going to be placed in the budget for La Crosse County, I did contact Administrator Kleekamp just to have a conversation with her, just to confirm how likely it was to go back into the budget. While she couldn't guarantee anything, she indicated that it was not going to be in her budget. So based on that and some internal conversations, I did not put it in the 2026 budget. We have historically given $8,000 for funding for this program. At the La Crosse County Board meeting regarding their budget, they did end up putting this funding back into their budget. So the program will be moving forward in 2026. Because most municipalities as well as organizations had already indicated they were not going to be providing funding, another letter came out from La Crosse County asking those previous funders to provide funding at or above the previous levels that they had given. And so now this is coming back to the council. So right now it is not included in the 2026 budget. So if the council has a desire to add the funding into the budget, there would need to be a motion would need to be made, and then we will come back with the appropriate resolutions to do so. If funding is not to be added to, then there would be no motion required since it is not currently in the 2026 budget. So I'll stop there. Mayor, you may want to add a couple of things as well too, and then we can go with questions.
Yeah, thank you. We did discuss this at committee, and so I guess at that point, I'll just open it up if any counselors didn't have a chance. We wanted just to have this on the council agenda for full transparency and allow counselors to act as they will regarding this matter. Alder Wolf?
It is $8,000 is what we've done in the past, correct?
Is your mic on? I'm not catching you.
In last year's budget.
Okay, so my question was it 7 or 8 and you said 8,000?
Correct.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any other questions? Mike Milky?
Thank you, Mayor. Rick, one other stat that we talked about was the ridership in Onalaska,
Correct.
and how it was very low.
Yep.
So that kind of went into our discussion as well. So just to put on the record, that was something else we took into consideration was the usage in our city. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Alder Jurassic?
That's the same question I had was the number that he had brought up. I thought it was like 65 for a whole year.
36.
36, yeah.
36, okay.
It was 39 for 2024, which represents 0.2% of the total ridership for the program.
Yeah, and the majority of those, when I was driving with the company, the majority of them were veterans going to the Toma Clinic. Now those jobs are pretty much taken over by the VA, so that even eliminates even more.
Okay. Alderman Ash?
Seeing as how the county may extend this for one more year to allow those that use this service to at least realize that this may end after 1 year, I would like to make a motion to propose that we continue this service for 2026 for 1 more year and add it to the budget.
Okay, was that a motion or?
Yes, that was a motion.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Alderman Ash. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to extend the funding for 1 year. Under discussion, I just want to clarify that the service is extending for 1 year and the county is paying that cost, but maybe Rick can expand on that.
Certainly. Vernon County did at their budget hearing end up adding the funding back in. So Vernon County will contribute what they have in the past. I'm not aware of any other organizations or municipalities that have agreed to reinstate the funding. I was actually at a meeting this morning where this topic came up just briefly. And it sounds like there's a lot of still unanswered questions yet in regards to the future of the program or any other funders that might come forward. So if no others do, then La Crosse County will ultimately end up paying for it. The board did also require that basically a work group be established to have some conversations about the potential for long-term sustainability of the program. But certainly there's no guarantees based on the state of the funding as of now.
Joanne Marcon?
Sabrina is online and she would like to speak.
Okay. Sabrina, can we hear from you, please?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The only thing that I would add is if this motion does get approved, could there be some sort of amendment as to where you would like us to take the funds from? Would you like it from the general fund or from the share ride fund? That would just be my only ask.
Thank you. Okay, I think we've got to go over here to Kathy Lohendorf and then Alder Knott can be next after that.
The 39 riders that were last year, are those riders coming to Onalaska for services or whatever it is that they need, or are those Onalaska residents that are utilizing the service? I guess my ultimate question is, are there people coming from maybe Vernon County going to the current VA clinic in La Crosse?
And I don't have the specific answer to that. My only speculation is that it is residents of Onalaska, but I would have to do some research and find out for sure if that's accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Alder Knott?
I don't know if you'll be able to even find that out. That's just that they're getting on Alaska. So one would assume they're mostly on Alaska, if not all on Alaska residents, because I'm sure that's how they're tracking, is that they're getting on at an Alaska stop. And again, that's 39 total riderships. It's not even necessarily riders. But did the calculation of $7,000 divided by 39, that would have the Onalaska citizens on the hook for $180, assuming it holds true again next year, for each person's ride and one time. So that's still pretty cost effective. And if I'm understanding, not everybody who was contributing is going to, which means for this to be viable, they may need more.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to vote no on this. It's just the cost versus benefit makes no sense to me.
Thank you. Back to you, Alder Nash.
I guess that by contributing, it doesn't really mean that we're paying that much per citizen. What it does mean is that we're contributing to the overall ridership of this program, and it allows everybody to take advantage of it. There are those that don't drive, don't have an opportunity. This bus also goes to Sparta and Toma. So it's a counties-wide service, not just on Alaska. So we're contributing for everybody to ride, not just those in Onalaska. And I think that's what the county board is asking too, to help contribute for this next year. And I would like to amend the motion to include that the funds would come out of the general fund.
Okay, Alder Banash has put out an amendment that the funds would come from the general fund. Is there a second to the amendment?
Second.
Okay, now we're discussing the amendment.
So question would be, Jim, is where in the general fund? That's what Sabrina's going to want to know. We had already actually discussed this item as we went through the budget process. So the budget's set for next year and zeroed out to where, you know, we are expending our funds. So what we need to find out is where in the general fund we're going to find $7,000 that we had already approved elsewhere. It's going to have to be removed from somewhere then.
Joanne?
Amanda's online and she'd also like to speak.
Okay, Amanda, go ahead.
I guess just for clarification from Sabrina, I think there is some money in transit related to this. But I guess I just had a more general question in that, you know, we'll typically look at where we end the year here in early 2026, you know, where 2025 may have some money left over. Is this, I guess, a decision that would have to be made tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go back to Sabrina, because I was thinking that too, if council could just take a position, then maybe staff could come back with a recommendation. Sabrina, can we get a ruling on this?
Yeah, thank you. So there is definitely some reserves that are in the share ride fund. So we could definitely use them from the share ride, or we can wait till the end of the year and see where the general fund lands. We could do a transfer from the general fund into the share ride fund, or we could use some reserves out of the share ride fund. So it would not have to be decided tonight. We could definitely, the main reason I brought that up is just if you want it from the general fund or if you want it from share ride, we could, Amanda and I could work on a resolution to bring forward, and we could wait until January or February to bring that forward, but just so we had kind of a route you wanted to go.
Thank you for that. Okay, the motion on the floor right now is to do an amendment that the money would come from the general fund. So any other discussion on that? Alder Knott?
Yeah, one last comment. So, yeah, also, I do have a differing viewpoint. The taxes that are paid to the county are to take care of all the county residents. The taxes and fees we collect in Onalaska are to take care of our own. It's not to take care of other municipalities' residents. They do that through their own process. So I still come back to this is going to cost us, assuming it holds $180 a ride in order to do this next year. And that's assuming we don't have to pay more to keep this viable. So,
Okay, thank you for that. Rick?
And I just wanted to clarify, I know Alder Knott indicated 7,000, and I know previously we've done 8,000. I don't know that a specific dollar amount was stated. So just so we're all clear moving forward, if something does move forward, what amount were we looking at?
Thank you for that. Okay, Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Mayor. What was the recommendation coming out of finance?
Alder Milkey?
The recommendation on the finance was basically not to contribute. So
But there wasn't an actual vote, though.
no, we didn't have to have a vote based
At
on
the meeting, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were basically, we just decided as the three of us to not take this to the next level and approve any money going towards it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for restating that, Alder Wolf. That's what I was trying to remember at the beginning too. They took no action.
I think there was originally a motion and then they withdrew it, and yeah, I think there was a consensus.
Yeah, because we didn't have to make a motion for it, so.
Okay, Alder Milkey?
Thank you, Mayor. And I know one other conversation or talking point that we had was surrounding that if this service wasn't there, is there a way for people to still get to where they want to go in our city? And overwhelmingly, there is different options out there, right? There's there's shared ride programs like Uber, Lyft. There's also our taxi services. There's also ways where you can get to a bus stop and then make it to a place you want to go. So there's still ways for our residents to get around that are using this and utilizing the program. It might not be exactly with that bus, but there's still going to be ways. We're not cutting that off completely. There's other options out there. So just want to state that as well.
Thank you. Alder Benash?
My understanding, when a person uses a smart bus, they only pay a couple dollars to use it. So if they had to pay a Uber, it would be a lot more expensive, or a taxi would be more expensive. So this is a cheap way for citizens to get around, and I just think it may be worthwhile for one more year, and then people will begin to realize this service may end after this next year if we help the county provide this service.
Thank you for that. Okay, Rick?
And Alder Benash did remind me of a point as well too. Not providing any funding doesn't mean our residents cannot use the service. They can still pay the nominal fee to use the service. It's just whether or not the city decides to contribute to the program.
Right, yep, that is true. Okay, I think,
That's right.
okay, Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Mayor. This kind of reminds me of, and I'm going to forget it. Shoot. One thing I want to note, I think that, I remember years ago when Mayor helped me, what route was it when they were?
Route 9?
Thank you. I thought it was Route 9 was looking at less coverage and such. And I remember, I don't think I was on council at the time, but I remember it was a full council, and there were a number of people from all facets of life who came and stated their reasons why it should be continued. I think, I'm not pointing any fingers at anyone, but I believe there's an old saying, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but not their own set of facts. So I'm very driven by facts. And I have to assume, though, that all of us sitting here have a vehicle, if not a second vehicle. And I just remember back then when people were over Route 9, there were people who had, lots of vehicles, but they seemed perfectly fine saying no to it. And I think at times we can be, I don't want to say use the word narrow-minded, but sometimes it's really easy to go, well, I can find a way to get there. And like Alder Benash mentioned, some of those alternatives are really, really pricey. And the reason why I will support Alder Benash's amendment this evening mainly is because I am very hopeful that if it does pass this evening, that strides will be taken. Whichever organization, whoever's going to try to lead that charge or whatever, to help educate, to throw an educational component to those who maybe are using the service and they're going to lose it. A lot of times in my experiences, a lot of times people who need the service, a lot of times they don't even know what services there are. And then one day they wake up and they're not there and they don't know what they're going to do. So I'm not one to like to spend money, but I think this is one time that I feel comfortable going along with the dollar amount. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? And then we'll get down to some voting here. Any final comments? Okay, so first we'll vote on the amendment. The amendment is to use funding, the general fund for this. Joanne, we're going to do roll call votes for both of these.
Amount?
A yes vote? No, you don't want to use roll call voting?
No, I was just asking if we needed an amount.
Oh, it was just that the funds would come from the general fund, funding for this. That is what this vote is for on the amendment. So that is what you would vote yes to when your name is called, if that's where you want the funding to come from.
Jim Benash,
Yes.
Kathy Loendorf. No. Stephen Knott,
No.
Mike Milkey,
No.
Larry Jurassic,
No.
Diane Wolf.
Aye.
Okay, so that motion fails with 2 in favor and 4 against. Okay, so we're now back to the original motion, which was to extend the funding for the smart bus for an additional year. Now, I made an assumption that that was at the previous level, which was $8,000. I'll ask the motion maker, was that a correct assumption?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, so for the record, that was a correct assumption. So this is, the yes vote will extend the funding at the same level for an additional year. So please answer when your name is called.
Larry Jurassic,
No.
Stephen Knott,
No.
Diane Wolf,
Aye.
Mike Milky,
No.
Jim Benash,
Yes.
Kathy Loendorf. No.
Okay, so that motion also fails with 2 yes votes and 4 no votes. Thank you. Is there any other discussion or motions that anyone would like to make regarding the Smart Bus funding for 2026? Okay, item 9, Administrative Committee. Alder Knott.
Yes, this is for ordinance 1840-2025 to create section 6.02.47 of Title VI of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Onalaska related to telecommunications and the towers in the city right of way. This did pass unanimously, but it was asked to put in a non-consent because some of us did not realize that there was more than one document attached to the email, which there was. Joanne did notify us. It is on us. It is not on her. So, but of course we've seen that. And so it's here for any discussion or vote now. And I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic. Is there any discussion on this item? Does this need to be a roll call? Because it's an ordinance?
Yes, we should do by roll call.
Okay. All right. So is there any further discussion on this? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve. If you are in favor of approving, please say yes when your name is called. If not, say no. Joanne?
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Mike Milky,
Aye.
Larry Jurassic,
Aye.
Diane Wolf,
Aye.
Kathy Loendorf. Aye. Jim Benash.
Aye.
And that ordinance passes unanimously. Thank you for that, Alder Knott. Item 10, Alderpersons Benash and Alderperson Knott. Turn it over to you two.
Okay, so, yeah, Jim and I, asked this to be put on. We've noticed that there is it's not uncommon to have abstention votes and, per training in the past too from legal, and of course, we can certainly hear from our attorney on this. Abstentions actually are defined pretty well within our handbook, and I'll read that. It's abstentions are non-votes when a board member is required by law to abstain from voting and the abstaining member is considered not present or not voting for calculating the number of votes required for the passage of the item. Second paragraph is abstentions for other reasons shall also be considered non-votes. However, members should be aware that some jurisdictions consider a voluntary abstention an acquiescence with the majority, and therefore members should only use abstentions when they feel supremely compelled to do so by a conflict of interest or other legal requirement. And where this comes into some confusion and potentially even some legal challenges is when there is a conflict of interest, that individual or those individuals are not even supposed to be part of the discussion because it has undue influence. So by voting abstain when you were part of the discussion, it would be very reasonable based on how this is worded for somebody to assume that, well, geez, they have a conflict of interest. Why were they even in the room for the discussion? So just a reminder that according to our own handbook, we vote yes or aye or nay or no, or we abstain when there's a conflict of interest. And we don't have the option in our handbook to vote present like they do in Congress, for instance. So I guess you could just not vote at all. And if it's, I don't know how that would work. Amanda, how does that work if somebody's, I just don't want to vote?
I mean, in theory, as an elected official, that's sort of your obligation to vote. I mean, at the end of the day, it would be up to, the public and the council members what they wanted to do if, you were neglecting your duties of office.
Jim?
Yeah, I just wanted some clarifications. I understood it that to vote abstention, you would declare that before you vote on a particular topic, and therefore you're not involved in the conversation. I also want a clarification so that I could, if I ever have a conflict, that I would recognize what's being discussed and excuse myself from that particular, whatever it is that we're talking about in that particular agenda. So I just wanted some clarification there.
I'll turn it back to Amanda then.
Yeah, Jim. So that is correct, right? We're not abstaining from the vote, right? Because it's not a vote that you have a conflict with or you have, an issue with. It's the item, right? So it's whatever's on the agenda. So if you are abstaining, you should not be participating in the discussion because your abstention would be to the item, not to the vote itself.
Thank you for
Does
that.
that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank you. Rick Niemeyer, our city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. In front of you is my monthly update report. Again, I won't read it to you, just touch on the highlights of it. Our timekeeping system is now up and running live, so we are using that. And so far, so good, and we're still working out a few tweaks here and there. The phone system here at the city, we do currently have an RFP out for proposals to come back for replacing our current system. Our current system will very soon be no longer supported. So it is something that we need to have replaced. It was included in the 2026 budget, and so therefore it is covered there. But we will be looking at a new phone system being installed in 2026. I previously mentioned about a sustainability class. Just wanted to give you an update. They did their presentations at their class last week. I was able to attend most of them. It just was interesting to see the ideas that they came up with for the individual departments. I'll be getting the copies of their presentations and handing them out to departments just so they can take a look at some of the recommendations that they made through this class project. Urban Alliance, I will be attending that meeting on Thursday in Milwaukee. So the Urban Alliance is part of the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. They focus on public policy, public education, and legislative advocacy. So this particular meeting is going to be action-focused discussion on setting a 2027 legislative push regarding local government funding. So in other words, it's going to be a brainstorming session on what are some things that we can kind of advocate for during the 2027 legislative term in order to help, my words, fix the legislative funding issues. And so leaders from across the state will be gathering together and having those discussions. The goal is to come back from this discussion with some talking points. They even say there's some homework and some things that can be done at the local level. So when I get back, we'll have some further discussions on what those things might look like. And then just an update, again, as unfortunately we all know, Police Chief Ashbeck has given his resignation, or retirement, I'm sorry. And so the Police and Fire Commission met last night and did approve the process to start moving forward. So that job will be posted presumably later this week and will run through mid to late February before it closes. So just to give you a heads up as to that's kind of the time frame that things are looking at, and then obviously go from there. Other than that, the meeting is and events, and that's all I have there. And then the other item under in the packet, you saw that there was the 2026 monthly meetings calendar, largely bringing that forward just for informational purposes. But I also wanted to make mention this year, a little bit different that you'll notice is that there are what we call blackout dates on the calendar as well. And what those blackout dates were, and this is something that came up this past year, is that there are certain state and federal holidays that the city of Onalaska is still open, but there may be various events that are going on these particular holidays that staff or elected officials may be asked to attend or want to attend. And so we are putting a blackout date on those particular dates. And I'll just mention the ones. It would be January 19th, which is MLK Junior Day, February 16th, which is Washington's birthday, June 19th is just Juneteenth, October 12th, Columbus Day, and November 11th, Veterans Day. So those are ones where City Hall is still open. We are still conducting business on those days. But because of other activities that are going on those days, we will be not holding city meetings on those dates. That's all I have.
Thank you for that. Okay, item 12, discussion and possible action on the annual review of the city administrator. Note, the common council may convene in closed session under section 1985 1C of the Wisconsin State Statutes for the purpose of employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The council may convene in open session to take the necessary action and/or continue on with the printed agenda. If no action is taken, the council may adjourn from the closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion, we go to closed session.
Second.
A motion has been made by Larry Jurassic. It was seconded by Stephen Knott. Voting will be by roll call.
Diane Wolf,
Aye.
Kathy Loendorf. Aye. Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Jim Benash,
Aye.
Larry Jurassic,
I.
Mike Milky.
Aye.
We are in closed session for the annual review. The time is 7:40. Thank you, everyone who came in tonight.